AndreSwift, Kevin's guy out of Georgia here, running back 17 last year, 151 rushing attempts, 617 yards, 5 touchdowns, 62 receptions on 78 targets, 452 yards and 2 touchdowns. Guys, your thoughts on AndreSwift?
Swift's injuries are kind of what made him look worse than what he was, right? Now, Swift's success came out of the passing game, as those numbers reflect. So I expect some of that to continue, though. Like, I expect Jamal Williams to probably get more if everybody stays healthy, which is the big if. But I do expect them to use Jamal Williams to split the carries, if you will. But then AndreSwift will dominate the receptions. And in any type of half point or full point PPR, I think Swift is a borderline RB1. He was there for much of last season before his injury, and he had to take a couple weeks off as he was recovering from that. So I think it's well thought of by most people that he's going to kind of bounce back into that. Top end RB2, possibly bottom end RB1. That's just as plausible at this point. So I like AndreSwift a lot. I have no problem drafting him, kind of the way I draft, right, as my RB2. He's probably not the guy I'm looking at, though, if I'm going zero RB for the first 2 or 3 rounds. I'm probably looking somewhere else slightly. But if I go Dalvin Cook in the first and then grab a couple receivers, I would have no problem following up with AndreSwift in the top part of the fourth if he manages to fall that far.
Okay, so I had AndreSwift in the home league last year, and he was bananas in our crazy scoring system that we have, and he was awesome. And he stayed on my roster the entire year, and it wasn't for a lack of trying by other members in the league, specifically one on this podcast who kept trying to get him away from me. I think it was a deal a week that I was having to field when it came to AndreSwift offers. So Kevin tried. He tried hard to get AndreSwift off of my roster. Unfortunately, I didn't have many options at the running back spot last year, so I needed to ride that train as far as that train would take me. It did take me to a playoff spot, but it was tumultuous getting there. So I like AndreSwift. I think with Jared Goff as the quarterback, running is what that team's going to have to do, and him catching out of the backfield, because we all know that Jared Goff can't throw the football more than 10 yards down the field. He has value, and I think if they keep this offense the way that they had it, there's no reason to believe that AndreSwift declines in any way. And if he can stay healthy for the entire season, he only goes up from there. So I'm in on AndreSwift. I agree with Kevin. He's not the first running back that I'm taking off the board. Although in our draft this year, it might be because I don't have a pick until like the 4th round. But he is somebody that I am keeping my eyes on. Not as my first running back, but definitely is as the second one that I'm looking at.
Yeah, I don't know that he's going to be around in the 4th in most of these things, right? Like
Probably not.
Early rankings, early ADP that I've seen have him being a mid-second round type of player off the board there. And now that could obviously all change as we get closer to that. And we see that happen every year where guys rise or fall. But currently he's kind of sitting around that, 16th, 17th, 18th guy off the board in a lot of places out there. And to your point, right? Like he was RB number 12 on the season, halfway through the first half of the season. So he was absolutely just rocking and rolling there. Got hurt in week 12 and then missed weeks 13, 14, 15, 16. Played slightly a little bit in week 17 there, but pretty much shot his season after that week 12 injury there. So he does give you a lot of value, and I think that he will have a tremendous upside here because you touched on it tremendously. Jared Goff had one of the lowest average depth of targets in the National Football League last year. I believe he actually ranked 34th in qualified quarterbacks in average depth of target, which actually would put him outside the top 32 on that one. And where those targets go, well, they get checked down to your running backs, checked down to your tight ends, checked down to guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown. So yeah, I think that you're going to still see a ton of passing work come through, and I think he's going to give you tremendous value when it comes to a half point or a full point PPR style there. And I do think that it's going to be very plausible to see him finish in that, anywhere from, you tell me he finishes RB10 to RB15, it's not going to shock or surprise me that that's where his final season rank is. So I think that you will get some very good value even with the second round capital